Joining me now, Democratic Congressman Adam Smith of Washington State. I want to first just quickly talk to you about the G7. There is concern among G7 leaders that whether or not Donald Trump and the U.S. is with or against them, they are the allies of the United States. How concerned are you about the feeling of the G7 nations?
I'm very concerned. First of all, it's a legitimate concern based on what Donald Trump has done as president in the last 5 months. He's basically started a trade war with the entire world. I mean, we have a major challenge with China. I mean, taking that on its own would be difficult. But now President Trump has alienated all of the potential partners in that challenge. He's made it clear that he will place tariffs on anybody and everybody, regardless of the relationship. And then, as John was just alluding to, the constant belittling of our allies like Canada and Denmark, the threatening to use military force to take Greenland and take Panama and to annex Canada. I think all of the G7 have every reason to worry whether or not Donald Trump is truly going to work with them and be a partner and an ally.
I want to go to the conflagration between Israel and Iran. Trump has said, look, for now, the United States is staying out of it, but it is possible for the U.S. to become involved. What are the warnings here? What do you think? Is the president doing the right thing by trying to stay out of this conflict right now?
Yes, I think we should stay out of the conflict, but it's very dangerous, and the warning signals are clear, and I get regular updates. We have a number of forces in the region, in Iraq and UAE and Qatar, Bahrain, Syria, and there's reporting that some of those forces have been targeted a couple times by militia groups. Fortunately, not attacks that have succeeded. But if U.S. service members are killed or injured or even attacked in that region, it grows the pressure on us to get involved to protect them against Iran. Look, we need to de-escalate this situation as soon as possible. I support the Trump administration's effort to negotiate an outcome, but we all do have to remember what Iran presents to Israel. I mean, from the day Iran was founded, the Iranian Republic was founded, Islamic Republic, 1979, the elimination of Israel has been a central tenet of their foreign policy, and it hasn't just been rhetoric. They've supported Hamas and Hezbollah, the Houthis, others, in an effort to destroy Israel. And Israel has to figure out how to deal with that. And certainly an Iran that wants to destroy Israel and has a nuclear weapon, that is the definition of an existential threat. Just hoping that Iran is willing to find an off-ramp at this point.
I do want to ask you about what has happened in Minnesota. You have a lawmaker and her husband assassinated. You have another lawmaker, a state senator, who was shot along with his wife. What are your great concerns after seeing what happened and hearing from police that this was likely a politically motivated attack?
My biggest concern is that we as a society are normalizing political violence. And you see this on many points on the political spectrum. The denigration and attacking of elected officials that you disagree with. It becomes incredibly, it's hateful and dehumanizing. And it puts in people's minds the idea that violence is an acceptable way to carry out your political viewpoints. And you see this in much of the dialogue that we have. No one side of the political spectrum has a monopoly on it. It's certainly, you've seen it on the right and the left. But President Trump is the biggest problem here. I mean, he has used hateful, degrading rhetoric from the day he decided to run for president. And then pardoning all of the January 6th attackers at the U.S. Capitol, people who thought that violence was a legitimate way to overturn an election. And Donald Trump gave him a big stamp of approval. You also have heard Trump muttering about possibly pardoning the people who attempted to kidnap the governor of Michigan. Look, if Donald Trump and the Republican Party want this kind of thing to stop, they need to change their rhetoric and stop pardoning people who commit acts that are dangerous to this. Representative democracy is dependent upon people running for office and holding those offices. If you think running for office means that you're a legitimate target for violence, that significantly undermines our representative democracy. And I am deeply worried about it. And I hope all of our leaders will begin to change that rhetoric.
Congressman Adam Smith, very wise words this morning on that subject. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. John.